I'm Brandon Wineline from On Grade. On this series, we're going to be discussing things that make you successful as a contractor. As a builder developer, what are your biggest problems on a project? Most of you would say it's finding good subcontractors to complete your project. Most are having problems with manpower, material escalation, bad charges for stuff missing in the contract. One of the biggest problems as a developer or builder is the problem with knowing the technical aspects of each trade. Hence why you rely on your trade partners to ensure that your project is being completed on schedule. However, you do not realize that some of the biggest problems are caused due to issues with design and execution. The plans don't work. You expect more than what you want to pay for. Good help is not cheap. Don't be afraid to go for the higher bid, because if you go for the low bid thinking you're going to make a ton more profit, and then you end up with change orders, liens, and legal issues, and massive deficits to the project budget, and blowing through the contingency funds. Ensure that each subcontractor is covering everything that you're wanting them to do. New subcontractors are eager for work and will say whatever they have to get a contract awarded. Yet they are setting themselves up for failure by doing that. That is when you as the general contractor need to tell them to revise and resubmit that bid. That is the key to success that most people cannot look past for the financial reward, which is great, but 9 times out of 10, it does not happen. You wind up losing a good owner team and potential future work by not looking past that fat number on the bottom of the balance sheet, which you could easily earn on 3 more projects with that same client. This is where, as a contractor, you need to ensure that the contract is locked tight and fair. Most contracts nowadays want to take all the liability off the general contractor and developer and owner, which is not right nor fair. Here are my 5 keys to success in a contract: scope of work, payment terms, retainage, liability, and fairness. Scope of work. Both parties need to agree to an amount of money for the amount of work that is to be completed. Most subcontractors give a detailed breakdown of these line items to explain each specific thing they will be performing on the project. Some of the biggest issues in business negotiations in a contract is that both parties cannot agree on the scope. As for instance, how much they're going to do a certain amount of work on that project. Well, the owner team or general contractor will then threaten to go somewhere else if they do not get that extra work for free. That extra work and time that the other party believes should be in the proposal, that is not right and is not a good business practice. A subcontractor or contractor should be entitled to be paid for work that was not bid into the project. Yet some contractors take advantage of newer subcontractors by putting them in a position of pressuring them to do additional work pro bono. I've had several of these happen over the years, and within 6 months, I'm regretting that decision. Nowadays, most contractors will not do that with us, since we've been around the block. This is number one, the most important piece of any contract. Biggest things you want to ensure is limit the time, the number of mobilizations on the project, the amount of material that you're bringing on the project, ensuring the site is ready for you to proceed. This is why in the excavation industry, we perform topos to ensure that there is not excess material on site compared to the drawings. Also, another is the rock clause. Make sure that when you're looking through your bore logs that you don't see anything in there that's showing rock. As long as you do that, you're covered. If God forbid they drill in certain areas and they don't find any rock, you go out on the job, start digging out the building pad and find rock. You are then entitled to being paid for that work. Also, you want to ensure that you do not get stuck with other trades work. A good general contractor should not set you up for failure. Payment terms. In most payment terms in the construction industry, you are paid when paid. You have every right to change that. It is your contract with the builder developer. You can request money up front by saying, I'll take 5% off the price if I get 25% up front. Some contractors will do this. They get to keep that 5%, which to them is a huge margin, for a little bit of money up front. Another thing you can do is request net 30. If you can do that, I'll credit you 1% off my pay app back. You would be surprised how many subcontractors and contractors are willing to do that. Contracts are negotiations not set in stone until the ink is dry. Never, ever sign a contract anyone sends you without reading it. You would be surprised how many contracts I have sent back with more red than black, and the other party made my corrections. Retainage is another one. It's a huge system designed to protect the owner developer from contractors who make an error on a project and for some reason will not return, or there's a disagreement, or there's a delay caused by the contractor. Those funds are used to correct those mistakes, i.e., bringing someone else out on the job to do your work. Some states hold 5%. Here in Texas, they hold 10%. I normally negotiate a contract where I request 5% will be released upon completion of my scope of work, and the other 5 released on the end of the project. If I did not request that, I could be waiting up to 1 to 2 years for retainage due to I'm an earthwork contractor and I'm on the project a year before the building even opens for business. Retainage is a great concept, except when you add it up over the year, it can get very costly. It's literally an interest-free loan to the owner of the project. They usually do not pay it out till after the project is complete and a certificate of occupancy has been issued by the town or city. So ensure that you're looking into that. It can help you cash flow your companies with most of your contractors if you ask for it. Liability. Most owners and developers push their liability on the project down to the general contractor, developer, and eventually down to you, the subcontractor. However, that does not mean that you have to carry the burden for the GC and owner. First of all, you don't work for the owner. You work for the general contractor. They should have some liability on the project. Yet many are continuously pushing more and more liability on subcontractors. Ensure that you have read all this area in your contract. It's a big deal, guys. Make sure, and ladies, that you are reviewing this because this can come back to bite you in the butt. Fairness. Contracts are a two-way street. A good friend and mentor and fellow subcontractor a while back posted on LinkedIn that a contract will set you up for success or failure before you even place a piece of iron on the job. The money is made in the negotiation of the contract. Ensure you cover your mobilizations, delays, which brings me to my next example. If you hold up a project a general contractor normally has that they can charge you against your contract and give you a 48-hour notice to fix that work or get back on site and make those repairs. If you don't do that in that 48 hours, they can either A, terminate your contract for convenience, or they can hire someone else to do that piece of work and back charge it against your contract. You have the same right to do the same exact thing, actually. A lot of people don't know that. So make sure when you write that into your contract that I put the same clause that they wrote, I put it the exact same way, but with our company. And I'll tell you, we've gone back a few times with this clause being in our contract, and they're not ready for us to say lime the parking lot or blue top or get it ready for concrete. We were able to back charge for that equipment and that manpower sitting on site. And you would be surprised how nowadays they don't call you back until they are ready for you. Now, in some cases, you show back up, there's issues, that happens. You're waiting on a grading change or something like that. That's something that you need to, as a subcontractor or as a general contractor, need to sit there and go, okay, we're waiting on a change order anyways. Let's not add fuel to the fire here. So be cognizant of how you do it. Make sure when you're finalizing your contract that you're spelling out your quantities, how many mobilizations you're going to perform, and ensure that you're not being set up for failure. Another thing you should add to your contract is on the back of it is your proposal, and say, hey, let's use this as my scope, and read out the scope that the general contractor gave you. Some GCs and developers are starting to do this now. They're finding that if I put this as their scope of work, I'm going to get a better quality project. I'm going to get a better quality product. Job's going to get done faster, and everyone's going to end up happy. And at the end of the day, that's how it should be. It should be a two-way street on a contract. In closing, remember that a contract is a two-way street and should hold both parties accountable. This is not a one-sided document. Ensure that you are taking care of your clients. For my subcontractors that are listening, also the general contractor listening, take care of your subs, and they'll perform the best work on your project and take good care of you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe. Also, we are now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.